Hi, and welcome to the Diocese of Paisley podcast with me, Tony. In this episode, I speak to Mark and Jenna from SCIAF, who tell me a bit more about the work that they do. They join me now. Who started SCIAF, and where was it founded?
Okay, so good question right from the start. A layman named John McKee, who is a head teacher in Glasgow at Holyrood. He, alongside Canon Rooney, started SCIAF in very humble surroundings, just a small classroom at St Columkills Primary in Rutherglen. And the reason behind it really was to connect the Catholic Church in Scotland with the rest of the world. He had noticed, or they had noticed, that there had been, noises in the news about things happening in different parts of the world, and it was kind of like, how can we help? How can we help with that particular famine, or how can we help with that's happening? So, SCIAF, Scottish Catholic International Aid Fund, was established in 1965, 60th anniversary this year. So John McKee and Canon Rooney, but also there would have been others, and there are others around them, and the bishops then took that as to be part of the bishops' conference, to be part of the church as it is now and well established. We don't just run out of one classroom now. We're at the Archdiocese office in Glasgow. And yeah, we're very thankful for the roots of SCIAF though, because it was started by supporters. I always like to shout out the fact that John McKee is a head teacher, so education has always been part of SCIAF's work. It's not just about giving money, it's about learning as well. So it's always nice to have that in the history, particularly when you're in schools and you're talking about the work of SCIAF.
And if someone wanted to get involved with SCIAF, what ways can they get involved?
So I think one of the main ways that we focus on is definitely through prayer. We always ask people to pray for the work of SCIAF and for the people that we support. But we also ask people to, pray for the workers of SCIAF, because there's quite a lot of time they're facing really difficult situations, things that you don't normally see every day, and it can be kind of difficult to come away from that at night as well, having those kind of experiences. But through prayer, we also ask, as you know, to donate what you can if you can. We always say, just a little goes a very long way as well, in our work and through helping each other.
And you touched on it there about the wee box. Can you tell us who sort of came up with the idea for that?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how long ago now that the wee box has been in the concept of the wee box, because there was a way of a money box before that point, but I think is it more than 20 years that's the wee box as it being called a wee box. But to be honest, I don't know if there's a name next to the person who came up, rather than it just being a movement towards that, and the branding of the wee box rather than it being just called a money box for collecting money. But it's definitely a concept that other Caritas organisations really like. I guess it maybe would not only work in Scotland, but your CAFOD in England and Wales are, our counterparts just love the fact, it's the wee box, they would love that sort of branding and just that whole wee box big change, the fact that you can put your wee bits of changing there, but it makes a huge change in people's lives. And it's a simple concept in some ways, and even though people maybe don't have as much physical money now, the fact that the wee box may be still on their mantelpiece as a reminder, and they can see each day, and they can see the people on it, those that have been helped, and how they can help others.
And for people that have the wee boxes in their homes, I know that some churches say to get the wee boxes back to use by a certain date. What date is that date?
Well, we usually say just after Easter. I don't know if we have a specific date. In previous years we would have a date if it was maybe being like Eid match. But we don't have a specific date this year. Just after Easter just allows us time to process it. We do still get a lot of donations that come in throughout the year for WeBox, but we try to kind of process a lot of these donations as quickly as we can, but it does take a long time. We do get lots of donations, which we're so grateful for.
Yeah.
I would say as well, like the faster it comes in, the faster it goes out. And that's not about us being greedy. It's just if we know there's a need, and we can't release that money unless it's come in. So yeah, as answering that question, I'd be like, just get it in as soon as you can, because it means that it can get to work, and it can be out there helping our partners and those we serve, and we see the difference it makes, so we want to keep doing it.
And you have a lot of different projects in different countries. How many do you have at the moment, and what do they do in the world?
Good question. So the projects, the numbers vary each year, because we're an organisation that responds to emergencies as well. The number of emergencies each year and how we're responding might dictate how many projects happen, but between 70 and 80 different projects around those countries, the focus countries are the 13 countries that we're working at the moment. So the majority of our projects along sustainable development are in Africa. And then we work in Colombia, we're focusing on that in the wee box this year. The work in Colombia. We also work in Cambodia, and then the Middle East and Ukraine, as in because of those things that have happened, we're there and we're helping. So that's a lot in some sense, because you might look upon SCIAF and you think we help to feed people, but that's one of the aims in emergencies. The idea of feeding people long term isn't something that we want to be doing. That sounds wrong, but it's not, in the sense that we want to enable and empower people to feed themselves, to lift them up, treat them with dignity, ask them what gifts and talents they've got, what they enjoy doing, and then help them. Help people to set up businesses, help people to grow their own food. And to stand up to the effects and impacts of climate change, for example, and help them farm still if they're farmers. So the projects are varied. That question, sometimes it might be in agriculture we're helping people. It might be that we're helping people through counselling, like psychosocial care because of war and conflict. Particularly this year's focus, the children and young people in the area of Choco in Colombia. Really helping people to not overcome or forget about trauma, but cope with, and a lot of that comes through in projects where we're inviting young people and children to come together, maybe through sport or music and art, to then talk about what they've seen, what they've gone through, and as a community work through their trauma.
And you have people like Ricky Ross from Deacon Blue supporting the charity. You also have, I've seen Naveed from Still Game as well supporting the charity. How easy is it for you to get big names like this to support the work that you do?
I think there's a lot of people that know of our work and that are happy to support it. I think for many people there is sometimes, because it's a Catholic charity, maybe some people don't feel that they want, sectarianism in the west coast of Scotland is quite bad, so sometimes you will have that impact, but there's definitely people that are willing to help, people that are happy to help, and it's just finding those right people. And Ricky's great, and he's came on trips as well.
Seen the work.
Yeah, to see the work himself. So he's he's does a lot for us in terms of kind of messaging and social media and things as well. And then Sanjeev, who's came on this year as well, and he actually went to a Catholic school, although he's not Catholic himself, but he knew the work of SCIAF and he knew the impact that we make around the world. So I wouldn't say it's difficult as such, but just where we live in the world and things as well, you know, there is some other kind of contributing factors in what people are allowed to say. I
would say some people maybe don't. Yeah, for that reason they may not want to put themselves up there and say that they're supporting a Catholic charity. Some do. So it's about respecting either opinion in some ways, but we're very happy to have people supporting, and for Ricky Ross and Lorraine McIntosh, they're supporters. It's more than just passive sort of money going to fundraising for them. It's deeper, and they want to see things change, and that's great, and it's good to have that, and we would welcome that, because I think if others come on board and show that, then it just kind of shows that. And I think for Sanjeev it was something about nostalgia. It was, I remember SCIAF, I remember the wee box at school. So it's great for us to have people of all faiths supporting SCIAF, and recognising that the work we do is steeped in scripture and church teaching. We're not ashamed of that, but we help people of all faiths and none in the countries that we work in, and we're supported by all faiths and none too.
And do you look for volunteers for the charity?
Yeah, so we're very lucky to have lots of fantastic volunteers in kind of different positions within SCIAF. We have kind of our parish contacts, I call them, who are active within their own parishes and kind of share our work within a kind of parish basis. And then we have our schools volunteers as well, who are great and go out to schools. A lot of them are retired teachers as well. And we have kind of some young people that volunteer as well, that come into the office, and we have kind of long-term volunteers that come in and help with the admin and different things, all the things that go on behind the scenes.
Yeah, we wouldn't survive without the volunteers. We really wouldn't. And they do a great job. And I would say, if you're interested in helping them, please get in touch. Like Jenna was saying there, that our dream would be to have a named parish contact in every parish in Scotland. That would be something that we would want. It's not onerous. I don't think it's not that we require a certain number of hours per week. It is really that contact, that person that we can have communication with, build up a friendship, a relationship, and be able to say, right, okay, we're going to send you out this resource. This will be good for a workshop, or during Lent we're sending you the wee boxes. You can hand them out. There's things like that, as well as putting items in the bulletin, prayers and things like that. So that would be great. We would really love a parish contact in every diocese, every parish, but we don't have that currently.
And if someone listening to this, how would they get in contact with you should they want to do it?
So they can definitely phone us, or they can send us a wee email at getinvolved@sciaf.org.uk. Do you know the number of it?
Here we go. 0141 354 5555 or quadruple 5, whichever you want to say. So 354 5555. And there is different ways of supporting. We want to use people's gifts and talents as well, just like our work overseas. It's very much about not telling people what to do, but if someone loves running fundraising events, we'll help you to do that. If they want to run a monthly prayer service or prayer meeting for SCIAF's work, then we'll would want you to do that, so yeah, please do get in touch.
You recently had a film launch, and how easy was this to do and to manage?
It's easy for us because we didn't do it. We helped with the kind of the evening itself and inviting people, of course. But I would say as a team, just working together, we have a project officers that would manage the relationships between our partners and SCIAF, and they are key for information and in communicating with our partners. James, who's a content editor, who you probably saw in the evening on the panel, so he took the footage, he edited it, he made it into the great film that it is. So in working together and then getting it out to our general supporters to come along and see the work, and yeah, it again, sometimes it's a good way of bringing complex issues down to a film that we can watch, that we can be inspired by, that brings great hope, and really see the Catholic community making a real difference. It's one thing I said this morning at the school is, the church is doing great things around the world. Often it might get a bad press, but there's so much good happening often where others are not going, whether it's too remote, too dangerous, the church is there. So we want to talk about it, and that film, just as that film's available as well. People can, yes, it was at the GFT for a launch, and it was great to have that. But if parishes, communities want to see that film, they can get in touch again, and we can. You can almost have your own kind of premiere within your parish, and watch it, and just learn more about the work of SCIAF. And when we talk about SCIAF, it's it's the supporters who are SCIAF. It's yours. It's the churches. So when you're seeing that happen in Zambia or Colombia, then that's together. That's how it happens. Yes, there are people that work for SCIAF and volunteer for SCIAF, but it's not happening without everyone joining together.
Before we hear a final word from Ricky Ross of Deacon Blue, I wanted to say thanks for listening to this latest episode of the Diocese of Paisley podcast. Please like, share and leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Here's Ricky Ross.
Thanks very much, Jeremy. It's brilliant to see what SCIAF's doing in Colombia and Surfing Convent. It's amazing. But the reason that I'm here tonight I'm speaking to you is because I went with SCIAF to visit their work in Zambia in 2017. And you'll see their work there, and you'll see me witnessing what's going on too. However, there is one moment that the film doesn't include, which is the moment I thought about this morning as I was trying to remember that visit. Just before we left Livingston, we visited the local Roman Catholic Church on the Saturday evening, and we sort of visited the precincts of the church there, and there was all sorts of music coming out at that point, different choirs rehearsing for Sunday morning Mass. And I recognised an old song that I knew. And as we arrived, one of the choirs was singing this hymn that I knew as a brethren boy growing up in Dundee. The song was called I Have Decided to Follow Jesus. And before long, at the suggestion of my dear old friend Val Morgan, who's here tonight, who was organising a trip, I was invited to sing with him. And for me, that closed a wonderful circle. There was I, visiting this land that I'd heard so much about via my Uncle Jimmy, who was an evangelical brethren missionary who went to Zambia after the war. And now I was coming to the country with a Catholic Aid NGO and finding that we were literally all singing from the same hymn sheet. What's the significance of this? It's this. The words of that simple hymn focus on what SCIAF, Caritas, and the people we encountered in Zambia have been trying to do. They have all decided to follow Jesus. And in this case, that means trying to bring dignity to the lives of some of the poorest people in the world. The frightening part of that story is that it requires very little from us to make a huge difference. You're going to see that in this film, as you get a sense of where that wee box money goes and how vital it is that we partner our brothers and sisters who desperately need our help. It's not just about handouts though. SCIAF and Caritas are about enabling and empowering communities. Lorraine, who's here tonight, who's also visited Africa with SCIAF, and I are both proud to be associates of this great organisation. We're grateful you've come to witness what's going on, and we're proud that a song from a long while ago seems to resonate enough to give this documentary a title. Please sit back and enjoy a film called Dignity.